Welcome back to my review of Dark Void for the Xbox 360. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the difficulty factor and the length of the game. Being a third-person shooter, this game isn't too difficult. It's really not that much different from previous entries. Like compared to Gears of War, it's nowhere near as challenging. Compared to Resident Evil 4, it's very, very simple. The biggest challenge to overcome is the controls themselves. So if you can get past the frustrating controls, it really isn't much of a challenge. It does kind of introduce new concepts as you go. Like once you master combat on the ground, it'll introduce you to combat in the air using the duck and cover system and shooting while hovering and shooting while flying. It's really not that difficult, it's just frustrating because of the camera, especially when you're flying. Really, when you're flying around on your jetpack, you're usually going too fast unless it's a really big area. So not only do you have to watch out for things that you can crash into, which is really important because if you crash into something, most likely you will die instantly, or it will knock you off course so bad that you end up crashing a lot more, like crashing into a lot of other things. But not only do you have to watch out for that stuff, you also have to control your direction and shoot at enemies. Like you have to target the enemies. The reason you want to use your jetpack to shoot enemies is because it's the most powerful weapon you have. Like your other weapons do damage. Like you have your obliterator gun, which does a lot of damage, but it's nothing really compared to the machine guns on your backpack, on your jetpack. Those do a lot more damage. So you want to upgrade those, even though they're expensive. And you'll want to master the flight controls. Now, the game is actually pretty easy. I mean, it has adjustable difficulty setting. You can put it on easy, which is casual. You can put it on normal or hardcore. And you can change those back and forth at any time during gameplay. You can just pause it, go to the option screen, and change the difficulty. But really, based on the length of the game, it's not too difficult. It's really something you can overcome in, like, a day or two, maybe 3 days tops. But it's very unfortunate that the length of the game is so short. Even though this is a mediocre game because the storyline isn't very good, the characters aren't very good, the gameplay is not that great either. So you're kind of anticipating the ending. You want it to end sooner than normal. So in a way, it's a good thing that the game is short. But if the game had been longer, maybe they could have included more interesting stuff. More weapons, more enemies, more plot developments. But the game is really short. It's like unexpectedly short. The challenge kind of varies. It depends on what you're doing. It can go from being really, really simple to being really, really hard. Really difficult, in other words, like frustrating difficult. It's because really cheap at times. You'll often get hit by things you can't see. you'll think that you can just turn your jetpack on and fly in a certain direction and not have to worry about it, but you usually end up crashing into something dark or something obscure that you couldn't really see. It's a lot of trial and error based. Unfortunately, what you want to do is just go crazy with your jetpack, like take off and fly through, all this area and just destroy the enemies like real fast on your jetpack. But you can't do that very much. It doesn't really let you because it's too close quarters. There's all this stuff that you can crash into. It goes from having these really close quarters to having this huge open environment where you can just fly around, but it's no fun just flying around in like open space. One of the most interesting and best parts of this game are the crash mechanics. Like when you really crash into something or hit something, it's just hilarious. It's a lot of fun just being a daredevil and seeing what you can get away with. But it's very satisfying just to crash headfirst into a canyon or flying straight up into a railing. Or free falling is a lot of fun too. Like there's an achievement you can get just by free falling a certain amount. It's called terminal velocity. It's pretty cool. It's like you're parachuting out of an airplane. But that does get old. I mean, you pretty much kill yourself every time you do that. So that's sort of a buzzkill. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this part of the review. Stay tuned for the final video, which will wrap up the review, and I'll give you my final score and opinion of the game. Thanks for watching.